Okay, now in our previous lecture, we have created our blog post layout, and for the current slug that we are testing out here, we have rendered this example page. Now in this lecture, we would need to find the article that corresponds to this slug over here on top, and we would need to render it on our page over here. So we're going to work out on our blog post layout. But first, in order to find our article by our slug, we would need to provide a context to our page here. So what we would need to do here is in our Gatsby node, after our component has been resolved, we would need to provide context. And here we would want to provide our slug, and this is going to come from node.fields.slug. Okay, so now that we have provided our slug as a context, we'll need to go to our blog post layout, and we should import GraphQL on top. So let's import GraphQL from Gatsby. Okay, so now what we would need to do is to create our query. So let's go on the bottom here of the page and let's type the following: export const query to be equal to our GraphQL. And here we would want to provide our query, which is going to be the following. Just follow along. We need our query, and here we would provide those parentheses, and here we can access our slug that we have provided to our context by typing $slug, and this is basically going to load our slug over here. That's going to be a string, and this query is going to search in markdown remark for, we provide here parentheses again, and we're going to search the fields, and the slug there needs to be equal to $slug, to our slug that we have provided to the context. Okay, and now in there we would need to get the HTML and the HTML and the front matter, and from the front matter we need the title. Okay, so this is our query that we would need to provide. And now we would need to change our layout here. We would need the curly brackets, not those parentheses here, as they are returning directly our layout here. We would need our parentheses, and inside our parentheses we can copy this and type return. You can stop your developer server if you like, so you don't get those errors, which are very annoying. Let me just stop my server. Okay, so we have returned our layout here, and on top let's first change our props here to be getting only the data from the query, which is injected in our layout by the GraphQL. Okay, now what we would need to do is to create a variable, a constant on top, that's going to be equal to our post, basically, that we have found by our slug over here. So we would not type always the data.markdownRemark.post, etc., and get all the information. This is going to be easier. So type a const that's called post, and it's going to be equal data.markdownRemark, and this is going to get our post. So in our post we have HTML, and inside the front matter we have our title. So here we would need to delete our div, and let's create an h1 tag. And here we would want to put our title. So let's type curly brackets post dot front matter dot title. And below here we would want to create a div that is going to be with the following attribute: dangerously set inner HTML. Basically, we would want to get the HTML from our GraphQL result, and we would want to set it in our page directly. This needs to be tagged as a dangerously set inner HTML, otherwise it's going to be printed as a text only. So let's set this to be equal to curly brackets, and here we would need to type the following: underscore underscore HTML to be equal to post.html. And here we would need to close our tag. Okay, so now I think we're ready to run our developer server again. Okay, now we have compiled again our Gatsby.js project, and let's open our first blog post. And as you can see, we have rendered our article here with the title and our text over here. So let's test the second blog post. And there we have it. So this is it for this lecture. See you in the next one.